Welcome to another update on what I've been doing today to get my business to the next level. So today I was working on multiple things. I'm going to say that in every single video. I'm always working on multiple things. Let's start off in the morning. What did I do? Morning was I had two calls with two of my suppliers. So as you get it's to a certain size, then your suppliers start getting more interested in you, and of course you have more negotiating power when it comes down to the suppliers. So I spoke to one of our smaller suppliers first. Asked her to give me a call yesterday evening. In fact, I got my executive. See, when you got the group structure, I got my executive to tell her to call me. She called me in the morning while I was sitting in the car. I was trying to identify something, how much of a rebate they would give us based on the orders that we provide them. So a rebate is normally when you, for example, spend £20,000 with that supplier, or whatever the number may be. They could give you some money back as a loyalty gift kind of thing. So this particular supplier, we had never had a rebate from them, but we've had rebate from our other suppliers. So I called her and I said, what's going on? We get rebates from all of our other suppliers. How comes we haven't got a rebate from you? So she started, that's a good thing. You need to put these people on the back foot. You can't be the one who is on the lower end. You have to put everyone on the back foot. So she started umming and ahhing, or we don't do this, and so on and so on. I said, okay, but we're spending X amount with you. And for this particular site, that is a key account. So what can you do for us? She said, look, I'm going to have a chat with my superiors and let's see, at the very least, we can get you some free stock out. So I said, okay, that's fine. Free stock, remember, is almost the same as a rebate, although it's not hard cash. There's nothing better than hard cash, of course, but free stock is almost like hard cash because they're giving you stock in which you are going to sell it, but you don't have to pay anything for it. So it takes time to turn into hard cash, but you're getting stock in which you can turn into hard cash within 30 to 60 days, depending on what the sales cycle is. For us, our sales cycle in that business for would probably be, if they give us some free stock, we can have that sold and turned into cash within 45 days. That's at the maximum, by the way. So, or it depends on how much free stock they give us, of course. If it's the normal amount, then it's about 45 days. We can have that completely turned into cash 100%. So that was the first one. The second supplier is a big supplier. So these guys are a global business. So they supply to hundreds of thousands of other businesses in the world, possibly even millions of other businesses in the world. So it's a little bit harder to negotiate with them. But what they do have is that they have a structured plan depending on the tiers of how much you spend with them. So even though they are they're basically a multi-billion dollar business, that business. But locally, of course, we are a key account for them. So we're not at the top end. There are top end accounts. So their top end accounts start at, I think, £150,000 spent per annum. We are at 60,000. And the normal account with them normally spends around about between 10 and £25,000 per year. So clearly, we're not one of the small guys for them. We are somewhere, coming up to their key accounts. So the key accounts for them, which is £150,000, are normally big chains who are ordering a large amounts of stock from them. Of course, they're a key supplier in the industry. In any case, I negotiated with them, and they are actually going to give us a cash injection of £25,000. Now it's going to take between 4 to 6 months to get this money from them, but what we've done, in fact, two things. We negotiated a higher discount, so I negotiated further 2% off our current spend. What we have, we currently get a significant discount from them, about a 35% discount, so we've negotiated to 37%. And also, we're going to get £25,000 up front and an extra 5% in rebate per annum. And that's significant because that means £25,000 going to hit our account, pure hard cash. And that's just with two phone calls, guys. Two phone calls. In fact, let me tell you about another supplier that we had. Now, we're lucky in the sense that one of our executives has a fantastic relationship with one of the key personnel in for one of our other suppliers. So I utilize that relationship. Remember, it's who you know as well. So if you get the right people working in your business, true flag bearers, then that's a big difference. It makes a big difference. We got a further 10% discount off our stock, where normally they don't give discount to anyone. What's happening with that particular supplier is that they don't really have a lot of large accounts. They have many small accounts, but they don't have too many large accounts. And we're turning into one of their large accounts. So they're essentially bending over backwards. In any case, further 10% off stock ordering, and we get a significant rebate. In fact, our rebate is going to go up. We actually had our supplier come and work in our shop for a day and basically do our job for us. We were re-merchandising a particular shop that we have, and a significant re-merchandise. They came and they re-merchandised the whole shop. That's another day. Anyway, let me come back to today. Then I had a managers meeting in the morning around about 11 o'clock. So that managers meeting, just going over some standard operating. We've got a couple of new recruits, ensuring their contracts have gone out, of course. And ensuring that they start on time. They had a couple of issues which they needed some decisions to be made on, which I made those decisions immediately. Remember, your job as a senior business leader is to make significant business decisions which has a positive impact on your business. That's what you need to do. You have the vision and the strategy and the decisions, and you get other people to implement them. That's what you need to do. And essentially, when you get to a certain size, like I've got I've got three executives who make decisions on my behalf, which means that one is financial decisions, one is decisions based on training and quality assurance, and another one is decisions. Although she's not a fantastic decision maker, so I am almost training her a little bit to make those decisions more independently. So I've given her the responsibility. What she ends up doing is she ends up phoning me, is this the kind of right thing to do? I say, yeah, that's the right thing to do. Or if there's something that she hasn't thought about, say, oh, have you thought about this? You need to build your team if they haven't got it. Personally, I like hiring people who I don't need to tell them how to do their jobs, because otherwise, I'm going to be sitting there training people all day. Now, I made that mistake, by the way. So I've got a couple of people who I need to continuously to train. In fact, another thing that I did today, so after the managers meeting that we had, I had another call with my accountant. You end up speaking to your accountant multiple times. It's actually not my accountant, it's my CFO. So that's one of the executives that makes the financial decisions for me. I ended up speaking to him regarding what were we having? I think there was some cash issues. Nothing was going missing or anything like that. Just the way that we're reconciling the cash and the process regarding the cash. So we that needs a bit more investigation. I know we've got a process which is running correctly, but it's not across the whole group. And that's the other thing. Okay, let me not get into that. Before that, then I had a meeting for a manager's position in one of our shops. So that manager is from outside of the industry, but they've got very good management skills. So that's another whole thing. Recruiting is a whole other thing for that you need to be very careful about when you're recruiting for a business. This person's coming from outside of the industry, but they have a proven track record in growing business and training staff. So that person, when I was interviewing them, was like, okay, remember in one of my videos or yesterday, my video, I said one of the key other things about being a senior executive is how can you empower other people, executive and staff members, to take work away from you? And that's exactly what this person would do for me. If I hire this person, I would no longer need to do some of the decision making, because I know that after 3 months or something, they will be able to make all of the decisions for me for that particular role that I was recruiting for. And that's what I want to do. So I'd rather pay a little bit more, but get someone who is experienced. I don't like inexperienced people. Now, if I'm not having to deal with inexperienced people, I've got trainees. So, for example, in fact, if we think about it, I've got a total of so I've got about 50 employees. Out of those 50 employees, we've probably got about 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, say about 10 trainees. We've got 10 trainees. In our industry, the trainees are the one that have the organic growth to become your senior staff members. It's one of those industries. So the manager interview, I think, really went well. I ended up shortlisting her for the position, and we are going to take it to the next level. She's away, um, going on holiday to Mexico, and I will arrange to meet her face to face. Then a Teams meeting. I'll arrange to meet her face to face to make the final decision. I've got two serious candidates for that position, and I'll update you guys as to what the decision was. One person is from within the industry. I already interviewed that person. They're from within the industry, but in terms of core hard management skills. Now, also when you're recruiting, you need to look at how um, what's their past like, right? So this person from within the industry knows the industry, but when it comes down to a clear track record of growth, there's question marks regarding that. But then I'm thinking to myself, they know the industry, so it'll be less training regarding the industry, maybe a little bit more training regarding management. But this other person who's outside from outside the industry, less training about management, more training about the industry, and I actually prefer that because it's easy to train people about other industries. It's more difficult to train about management. So the person I've interviewed today is a slightly better candidate in my mind. Although I've got another executive who I've just booked a call with for tomorrow. I'm going to get their opinion on that. And that's the other thing. You need good, high quality advisors. If you're building a large company in which you've got multiple sites and you've got multiple employees, then you need to have the right structure. You need to have good executives who you can rely on. Now, this doesn't apply to online businesses because, of course, if you're an online business, especially if you're selling product, whether that's physical product or digital product, all you need to really do is to ensure that you've got the right processes. Maybe you're using a third party logistics provider. Even if you're not using a third party logistics provider, you've got 2 or 3 key personnel who's doing the packing and the ordering and the maintenance and the admin for you. And then essentially you can have a small number of employees to do a large amount of revenue. That's one thing that we're looking at to build the online side of things in our industry, because it's amazing to me that one of our shops that we acquired has a shop, like a pure retail outlet, but they don't sell online. It's beyond me. Right, so what did I do after that interview? After that interview, building standard operating procedures. So standard operating procedures for a company is so important. Currently, we were just doing everyone picking up bits and bobs of what we can do and what we can't do. But now the standing operating procedures are so important. So I'm going to spend the next however many months it takes to get all of the standard operating procedures in place to ensure that even the training goes minimal. So for example, if someone asks me a question or someone asks another executive a question, that how is this supposed to be done, or if you've got a new recruit and they need to be trained up on how to do their job, no one needs to sit there and tell them what they need to do from the beginning. Just hand them over a manual. You don't have them a physical manual anymore, it's all online. You direct them to the training. They read up on the training. If they have any questions, then they can ask that particular executive, whether that's me, whether that's one of my other executives. That's the power of standard operating procedures. If you're starting out a business from scratch, I would say build your standard operating procedures immediately. And the reason for that is because when you hire everything that you're doing, write it down. Because when you start a business, you're going to be the only person that's doing it. But as you grow, so for example, let's say you start off and you do your first £10,000. You're doing it, it's easy to do the 10,000. When I say it's easy to do the £10,000, it's relatively easy to do the £10,000. And then essentially when you get to 20, £30,000, £50,000, £100,000, it depends on your particular type of business. You'll need to recruit someone. Now, if you haven't written down everything that you are doing while you're doing 10, 20, £30,000 of revenue, then when you recruit that other person, all of a sudden you have to think to yourself, okay, well, how do I train this person? Unless they're experienced, of course, already, you need to train that person to what you were doing. So if you have it all written down, you can say, here you go, that's what you need to do. They ask questions. Your training time goes from, for example, from 2 weeks down to 2 days. And that's the other thing. In business, you want to minimize time. If you can shorten the amount of time it takes to do something, that's better. that's the update for today. What standing operating procedure? Oh, the other thing that I did is we've got a board meeting coming up next week. So board meetings require board reports, and I completed my section of the board report, which is great because I actually hate doing them. Um, that's something that I can't give off to my administrator or anything. My PA, I've got a PA. I can't give that off to my PA because it's a high level report. I could. In fact, I'm just thinking about it. It's good that I'm doing making these videos because it makes me think too. I could actually give my PA now. She wouldn't be able to do it. So with my PA, I can give her processes of standard operating procedures. I want you to X, Y, Z, put that in a procedure, make the document. Like I've done that standard complaints handling process, for example. We've standardized the process of that. Literally picked up the phone, Jody, I want this, so on. I want these steps and I want this letter to be sent out. That's his complaint handling process. She made it. Yeah, she made a couple of mistakes in the first time, but I didn't have to do it. I'm just managing to ensure that she gets it done correctly. So yeah, certain things that you have to do yourself, certain things you don't have to do, even if you're an executive. Remember, as an executive, you're only focusing on the highest related things, highest things. Oh, massive thing that I did today that I haven't updated you about. I made an offer on a business. I made an offer on a business. If you're in mergers and acquisitions, there are only a few important things that you need to do. If you're buying businesses, you're growing through acquisition, there's few important things. And one of the things that you must do is make offers. So you have to, find as many different opportunities and identify, cut out which ones are really, really bad opportunities, or not really bad, but which ones don't meet your criteria. See, if you're on mergers and acquisitions and you don't have a criteria of what you need to do or what you're acquiring, then you don't know what's going on. Anyway, I'll do a separate video on that. So, because that's one of my passions, mergers and acquisitions, sales, marketing is my passions. So that's the update for today, and I will see you tomorrow.